Hello, welcome to the Mobi Podcast 2. I'm here today joined by my good friend, George.
Hello.
George, they can hear you, but I'm afraid they can't see you. I will adjust that right now. Thank you everyone for coming along and or listening to this after we do so. Unfortunately, Tobi, who would normally be here as my co-host, is unable to make it, as he told me about 20-30 minutes before I was going to start recording. Very useful, Tobi, as he is. Hopefully he'll be back next week, and we have a little bit of a surprise for that one as well. So he better make it, otherwise I'm going to be having serious words about who should really be my co-host, who could be consistent enough to turn up. But it's fine, because we are here today with George, and George is also an absolute hero. How are you doing, George? How have you been today?
I'm good. How are you, Morgan? How are you?
It's good. I'm loving it. I've been doing my third stream today. We played a bit of Minecraft earlier. Obviously, we did our cool. We played some Death Swap, which you mentioned to me. Which I'll very quickly go over. Actually, George, probably if you could very quickly explain that whilst I adjust the video so that people can see you. Instead of me twice.
Oh my
I'm very
God.
sorry. I know. I'm sorry. What am I like?
Oh yeah, so it's basically where every, I think, 30 to a minute and a half, you switch places with the players, right? And the aim is to kill each other. That's pretty much it.
So it's kind of like
yeah.
In a way, it's almost like a Hunger Games, then I guess. Where you're trying to there's a group of you, you're kind of all fighting to, be on top and win.
Well, yeah, Hunger Games in the sense that last standing wins, right? But not in the sense where you kill each other, because you don't directly kill each other, right? It's indirectly.
Yeah, so because you're not by each other as such, you're more
hundreds and thousands of blocks away.
Yeah, you get teleported completely across completely across the map, so far away that you can never really find each other, and you have to set it up so you're about to teleport randomly with someone else, and you have to try and get them killed whilst in various ways, whether that be standing on a very tall pillar and jumping off just as you teleport.
To me, yeah.
Yeah,
it's the only way you kill.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Or
brilliant.
Getting yourself stuck in a big pool of lava, which is difficult to get out of, so that they get teleported into the pool and melt and burn alive.
No one burn alive.
Whilst the other people can't do anything about it.
True.
So how did you find it, George? Well, firstly, how did you think it went, and secondly, how did you find it? So how did you think it went for just in general as playing it?
Worst host EU.
True.
That.
True, yeah.
But otherwise, it's pretty good. Rough start. Couldn't get it to work. But other than that, no, it's pretty good. To be fair,
I mean,
it's fun.
That's how my podcasts go. My streams go at this point. There's always something. I either start my stream without any fucking audio, or
you start with the two webcams of yourself.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm very nearly done. I'll nearly be able to see you, George. I should have. For some, I had it set up all good, and then for some reason it's put me on the other side. So hold on. There you go, George. I can see your lovely face.
They see me. Voila.
I mean, obviously, if you're listening to this podcast, you can't see him, but he's a very good-looking man. If I do say so myself.
Morgan, same to you.
Got a nice up. Got a nice up the boys.
The mirror.
Yeah. So, how did you find this game though? Did you kind of find it on YouTube or something, or?
Yeah, no, literally, yeah. I just stole it off some YouTube. I was like, Morgan, let's play this. I saw it on YouTube. I was like, this looks fucking amazing.
I mean, who actually has original content these days? We just got to find what works with us. And
still whatever's popular, right? That's how it works.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we're just chatting, George. That's why we're just chatting.
Stealing again.
So, George, I have basically known you for a little over a year now. I think. Because I swear it would have only just been before or around lockdown that we really knew each other.
I think it was before lockdown, definitely before lockdown, but not too much before that.
Because the first time I ever heard of your existence was our mutual friend Joe had beta key for the game Valorant, which we will be playing later, and he'd given the like beta account for you, but then you didn't want to play it or couldn't play it at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So he let me log into it, and I'm like,
Stole my
"What
account.
idiot calls themselves Melon?"
Yeah.
I was like, Joe, is this just like a troll account or something? You know, just like a side thing. He's like, "No, it's for my friend George." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right." And
Melons.
yeah, played a bit of that. Yeah, that was quite fun. Playing a bit of Cypher and not having any idea what to do because I've never really played those games before. Yeah, and then we must have just would it have been Warzone when that came out that we really started like
Well, it's
playing
for
stuff
that
together?
because I was in the server, weren't I? I was in the Discord. Got removed a few times.
Yeah, well, all right.
Yeah,
Well,
out you right here for it.
I see.
Removed me like at least 3 times from the server, even after Peter's like, "No, don't kick him, don't kick him." Joe's like, "Don't kick him." You're like, "I don't know this guy. See you later." Jog on. Then eventually, you were like,
I think it was mostly a bit more of a laugh because they were like, "Oh, don't kick him." I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna have to now."
I have to now. You said it. So
You said I shouldn't, so I'm gonna do it. But yeah, I think we played quite a lot of Warzone together because when Warzone came out, I've never really been that much of a Call of Duty player myself. But when I heard that there was a free Battle Royale, I was kind of like, I don't know, because I never really got into them when they first came out, like Fortnite and PUBG and stuff.
They're completely different, aren't they? Fortnite is nothing like Warzone.
Yeah, no, exactly. I did try I at least tried Fortnite when that first came out, and I was just a bit like, yeah, it's a bit too childish for me. I literally just like it's just not really my kind of thing.
When it first came out, like it was actually alright, but then
yeah, I know a few people have said that. Yeah,
the meta changed, and it was all like people were building skyscrapers and hotels and shit just to kill you, and it was like, come on, man, I just want to build like a little 1x1 and shoot you. But
one I did play quite a lot of was Apex Legends because I really like the Titanfall games, or at least Titanfall 2. And I played that, especially the multiplayer as well. Played that loads, and then they were like, "Oh, we're making a battle royale with like the same movement and guns and shit." And I was like, "Oh, awesome!" So I played that quite a lot, and that was really fun.
Yeah, it was a good game.
And having different abilities and things. And then, obviously, Call of Duty Warzone came out, and all of the guys on our server were like, "Guys, Call of Duty battle royale, let's go!" And I'm like, "It's COD though." And I was literally just like, "Oh, I don't like COD, guys."
No, lads, it's not a thing.
It's not for me. And they were like, "Oh, come on, Morgan, but it's free, and we could."
You have to fit in. You're just trying to fit in, like get it.
Purely, you know, kind of. Well, not so much peer pressure, but I was just like, "Oh, fuck it. You know what? Everyone else is doing it. It's free. I'll give it a fucking shot." And the first game I ever played was our mutual friend Joe, carried me in a 2-man squad. So it was just the 2 of us in trios because only trios existed at the time, and he literally just got us the win. Literally, like on my first game or something.
He has cracked the games. Not as cracked as me.
Yeah.
He's alright. He's alright. You know, he can hold his weight.
Yeah, exactly. He can carry himself most of the time.
When I play with him on the 2v2s, he cannot carry his weight. Let down.
Oh, he's saying it here.
Let down. Let down. Honestly, let down.
But yeah, so I eventually kind of I grew into it, and especially at the very beginning of this whole COVID lockdown stuff, there wasn't that much else to do anyway, and it definitely added to it the fact that we were all playing it and we were all playing it together. So it was like a group thing we were all doing, which was kind of fun. So we would have played a lot of that, and then obviously they had different game modes like trios and duos and stuff, and we just played the fuck out of that for like ages.
A long time.
But you
literally from start to stop, really, wasn't it? Played it for months. Yeah.
Daily, literally daily for months, to send out, right, guys, Call of Duty.
Why did we stop?
Because a few reasons. Skill-based matchmaking. It became much harder to win games or even have a chance. We felt like every time we were playing a game, we'd get fucking sorted.
And it's not even like we were bad either. We'd get like a win every.
Yeah, we were pretty actually
games?
pretty average, like above average. A lot of the time.
Pretty average.
No, pretty above average. Yeah, no, we're not that bad at all. but with a
Apart
mixture
from-
of the skill-based matchmaking kind of refining it to like making it just that bit harder every time, and then we started to see hackers like genuinely like
Oh,
the amount of times we're watching like the final few teams and you just see some guy who's just got his guy and goes and just fucking like killing people as they're
yeah,
dropping
it's
out the
stupid,
sky.
It's stupid.
And it I think it just kind of built up. We just kind of like it became less fun because you can't enjoy it when you're having to fully sweat out every game, and then even when it's going,
Like,
even if you get a good game, you could get killed by a hacker sniping you from miles away, and you're just like, what the
yeah,
fuck?
and about skill-based matchmaking, it's literally like you're playing a professional game every game. Like I'm not, it makes me shake, man, because it's like you play a game, you want to have fun, right? If I
Yeah,
wanted to
exactly.
sweat my absolute bejesus off, I'd play like League Play, or whatever. They don't have that in Warzone, but I'd play League Play.
Yeah,
But I agree with skill-based matchmaking, right? Where they should have it like I'm not playing against. You see the videos online with kids that are just they have like 0.2 KDs and they literally can't shoot you.
yeah,
They literally don't know what they're doing. I don't want to play them. Where's the fun in that? There's no competition at all.
yeah, exactly.
But at the latter, right? I don't want to play the kid, right, with a monster can, right? G fuel to his left, monster can to his right, right? Headband on, sitting there, yeah, proper sweating out of his 7 KD. I don't want to play him either. I just want to have fun. I just want to play like just the average Joe. That's all I want to play.
Like, I don't even think it's really that hard of a fix either, because
Oh,
they either broaden the kind of skill based matchmaking, so you have people slightly like a bit more lower than you, but then you could have a couple of people slightly higher than you as well.
yeah,
You have like a wider bracket, but you can also
right.
just have ranked. You have ranked where it's like this skill based matchmaking, and then you
Yeah,
have
that's all I
casual
need to do.
where it's really loose, and you just because then if you only get dicked on the odd occasion by some cracked player, you're like, oh well, he sorted me, he's a good player.
Yeah,
But
he's
then
cracked.
but then sometimes you get some people who are like just not on your level, and then you dick them, you're like, ha, fucking noobs. But then hopefully, but ideally, you've got a good range there, so you're more likely to have
Yeah.
people who are just a good fight. I remember the amount of times where we'll engage with this team, and the fight it goes on, but like downing each other, and then we're reviving. Some people will
Mm,
die, get brought back, and I'm like, that was actually quite an even game. Like they
yeah.
weren't being super cancerous or anything. They were just quite well skilled and gave us a good run for our money. But fair play to them. We just happened to get lucky with an airstrike or something.
Mm.
But yeah, so the concentration of games we actually enjoyed and got really upset about for various reasons kind of led us to just do different things,
Yeah.
which in a way is a shame. I mean, it was, again, like looking back, it was great having so many of us so frequently having this thing we all did together and kind of bonded over. But
Mm, mm.
it's we can only do so much, whereas the game needed to change but didn't want to change in the ways that we would have liked. And now
Yeah, yeah.
hackers are still a problem, and balancing is just all over the place.
Hasn't got any better with the new CODs either. It's even worse, skill-based matchmaking. I go
mm.
in a multiplayer game. I don't anymore. I only play zombies or 2v2s. Because 2v2s I can sweat on because I want to sweat on that. And yeah, skill-based matchmaking. I play a pub.
Yeah,
Everyone's got 3 KD. Everyone's level 1,000. I'm crying. I'm just in the corner crying. Like it's not fun.
mm.
So it's just zombies or 2v2s. And even then, I'm not really interested in that anymore either. So I'm just playing like nothing Minecraft, sitting in VCs, doing nothing now really.
I
Uni and
think
stuff. So.
I think some of us have gotten to the point, where this whole lockdown, as far as I can tell, we've been quite fortunate. I don't think many of us have really had any direct effects from coronavirus. As far as I can tell, like, as far as I can remember, no one said like they've lost someone personally or anything like that.
Mm.
I think overall we've been quite lucky so far.
I've had a few people in my family, well, like not direct family, but brothers, wife's mum sort of thing. She caught it. She was very ill.
Oh
I think
right,
she was on a ventilator or something.
yeah.
But she was ill in the first. She's old as well. She was ill in the first place. It weren't good. She was in. It was quite bad, but
Oh,
she
I'm
pulled
sorry to hear
through.
about that.
That's all right. No, she's fine now. She's alright. She's trooper.
Yeah, I mean,
Got
I've
as
also
well.
I have had a family member who had it, but they didn't really have like symptoms of it. So I think it was pretty fine, and they managed to get by just like quite all right. But,
Yeah,
but I'm thinking, no one's lost a close relative that's
I'd
seriously
say, yeah,
affected them and
loads of
stuff.
people do those.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's what I'm
And
thinking.
it can affect anyone as well, right? You could be like me, loads of people, right? I saw this thing. It's this huge guy, right? MMA fighter. They train hard. They train hard for fights, right? So they beat their
Yeah,
body up consistently, constantly, all the time, no breaks, right? So this guy caught COVID while his body was just absolutely out of it, and it done him. It done him hard. He was out.
shit.
He was proper gone, and it was because he was just beating himself up consistently. Didn't let his body heal, and
Mm.
he's just so damaged. And then with COVID, he's out of it, sort of thing. It's dangerous, you just got to be careful with this sort of thing. Stay healthy, and
Yeah,
yeah.
because obviously it's affecting many people in many different ways. You either by catching it yourself and you feel really ill and shitty. The worst case would be, well, either yourself die or someone very close to you can die to it. But even then, there are still plenty and plenty of people who are being affected more mentally by the sometimes non-direct problems such as being locked inside for so
Oh,
long and all
definitely,
that stuff. Loads of people.
definitely,
And I think
definitely.
from what I can tell from our group, I think we've started to come to a point where we're not finding as many things to keep us occupied and or like keeping us hooked for a long time. Or
I agree. The good,
at least personally.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it means because I don't have that sort of distraction or something to keep my mind on, then the kind of isolation and stuff is now gradually getting to me. I'm mostly fine.
Yeah.
I don't want people to worry, but you know,
Of course, right? Yeah,
yeah. But I know people who know me will likely listen to this.
yeah, yeah.
But I'm starting to notice there'll be times I'm just like really, really bored and sad.
Well, the good thing is, right? We're through this. We talk to each other more, right? Me and you
Yeah.
would go on the cam, sit there, get henching on the camera.
Yes.
Have a
We'll talk
laugh
about
and
that just
stuff.
afterwards. The whole
Yeah.
working out stuff.
It's like a little support group sort of thing because you do need to talk to people.
Oh,
I remember
absolutely.
I saw this really sad thing. It was like this really young boy. I think like 13.
Oh,
He
right.
he was obviously not in a good place mentally. I think he was depressed or something. But he couldn't get that help like
Mm.
support wise because GPs are closed here at least. I don't know what it's like where you are, but it's only by phone, and even then, good luck. It's not the same.
Yeah.
Hospitals, that pressure to stay inside, even if you are struggling, stuff like that. And the boy ended his own life. It was
Shit.
stupidly sad, and
Yeah,
that's what you
incredibly.
hear about, right? You have like it's not just him. You have like people of all age groups and stuff like that. The elderly and stuff. They can't they can't do a Discord. They can't Discord or Zoom or something. They're just alone. It's really sad. I think over the years to come, we'll be able to see. We see it now, right? You see it now with increased rates of like suicide, depression,
Mm.
mental and stuff like that. But over the coming years, when you can truly like get some sort of picture of the scale of it, I think it's going to shock a lot of people of how much this virus has affected us, not only economically, socially, but mentally as well. I think it's going to be crazy. I think it's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's definitely going to be remembered for a long time and analysed and people want to go, oh, what could have been
That's
done
shit, yeah.
differently and all
Yeah.
sort of stuff. So yeah, it's really made me also appreciate the people I have with me because of people who don't have people to talk to or someone to
Mm,
be with. It has made me appreciate people who I have, because obviously
yeah.
we have our group of people, our group of lads who've
The boys.
some of us
Yeah,
the boys,
the boys. Yeah.
some of us have been talking or like known each other for years and years.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've
You
all
went to
kept
school
quite
together,
quite
actually,
concept.
didn't you?
Yeah, the most of us, we all went to school together, and
Mm.
have been quite a good close group. And over years, we like have new additions and new people come along, and we've managed to be quite consistent during this whole time. I mean, we're well, I think we're basically all adults now, with like very very minor exceptions of people just turning 18 or something.
Well, yeah, but even then, it's like mature sort of thing, right?
Yeah, but we're all of the
Not
age
18,
of
but you're
where
still mature.
yeah,
You're not a
um,
complete imbecile sort of thing.
yeah, and most of us whether either have some sort of uni or work or college and stuff. So everyone has their own things that life things that are keeping them busy, but we still get to communicate and see each other every so often at least. There's some of us are on here daily, and we're quite fortunate to do that. I think I'd definitely be in a much worse position if I didn't have the guys this whole time. I'd big sad, but I'm fortunate enough that I don't have to worry about that. And we're able to, although we have our banter and chatting shit to each other all the time, we also have we also somewhat lift each other up to different degrees, including our kind of recent push for being fit and muscular, I guess.
Pushing certain people as well. Get huge.
Exactly.
All trying to get huge. Huge sesh.
So I used to do. So essentially, some of us have a varying records of doing sports and exercise and stuff. I know at least, like, I used to do boxing years ago, and then I did rugby for a few years, and then I used to go to the gym with during sixth form with Tobi, who should be here. And other people. just a reminder.
Subtle one there.
Yeah. So, and then we used to do that together. So, and I know people did like football and just general exercise and stuff. Obviously, you like mountain biking, George. You love your mountain biking and stuff, which is very cool.
Now, so I'll die if I go out, but I would be otherwise. Yeah.
So we all have varying backgrounds with it, but we've had in the past few weeks, I'd say, we've had some of us try to motivate each other to work out again and get fit and healthy, purely for the sake of being fit and healthy and getting
Greek god,
getting huge,
Greek god.
Or as we like to say, becoming Greek gods.
Greek gods.
And I'm happy for it. I mean, why not? I love.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to get back into it. I just like the motivation, like the beginning motivation to get back into it. But
we're all pushing each other. It's great,
exactly.
Isn't it?
Every morning,
we're all getting huge.
Yeah.
What more could you want? What more could you want?
Because I know that there's some of us will, will be quite happy to just exercising and get back into it and stuff. So they don't have a problem. But I also think there'll be some people who would either struggle to be motivated from the beginning, or struggle to start doing it. But by having us all do it and encouraging each other, and pushing each other to do it, I think it's keeping it consistent, and it's all we're going to do is improve. Really, I don't see how. I can't think off the top of my head, how this could, suffer. Well, it's not suffer.
Be bad. Sort of,
I can't see how this, because we're we're like, every morning I'm coming in the Discord, and then I'll see someone going, right, has everyone remembered to do their morning workouts? And we're like,
like you're on about it. Right, come on, boys, get ahead. Come on, boys.
Yeah, we'll be on the personal VC.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
It's too early.
And if we're just, in the voice chat, just chatting, not playing anything, sometimes we'll just whack our webcams on and just like get my weights out, and we start doing workouts or pull-up bars and stuff. And it's great. I love it. I think it's really good. I think
it's definitely hard sometimes though to push yourself. Like years ago when I was going gym and stuff, right? Just sometimes you just don't want to go, and you're like, I need to go. I need to do legs. I need to do arms. I need to do back. Whatever, right? But you're just like, I'm just like, fuck off. No, I'm not. It's over there. I'm over here. No, it's not happening. But sometimes I just push myself. I just be like, right, that's it. Just go there. Just walk. Don't even think about it. Just walk. And then I'm there, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I'll get huge now. And then I'm like in the gym. I love it. When you're actually doing it, you love it, and you're like, oh, thank God I actually went. But when you're going there, you're like, no, not happening. So it's just having like the mental fortitude to be like, right, look, put the work in here just to get there, and then it'll reap the rewards like game.
So like a few years ago, I won't go into too much detail because it's of what I'm on about, because it's not too important. But I had some troubles before. Which made me feel a bit down, and one of the things that helped me not feel so down was exercising. And I'm quite lucky to have a bit of a home gym in my garage. We have a few things.
You got like a proper little setup, ain't you? And all
it's crazy.
Like 4-in-1 machine thing you were talking
Yeah,
about. What's going on there?
it's my
My
dad.
God.
He's cracked. You know,
Yeah.
he's all fit and in shape and stuff. So he loves that stuff.
Yeah.
So I remember I went out there. My mum was like, you know, just exercise, get help, because then you can get healthy. I'm pretty sure I was still doing rugby at the time. And then she's like, you know, and it keeps your mind off things. And I went out there. I had a routine. I was there for like an hour and a half, 2 hours every day.
Mm. Mm.
And I did this routine every day for 2 weeks. And I went from being just like skinny but like flat stuff, you know, just flat and quite boring, to being like quite actually like
Boring.
toned and like, you know, toned and
Boring.
really uninteresting. And then I got
Yeah.
really fit.
Yeah.
So I did it literally solid for 2 days. Every day, just went out and just started like working out and stuff, and
Nice. Yeah.
to like set up crunches and all these weights and everything. I just did it all.
Just
And then-
absolutely going for it, sort of thing.
Absolute madness. And then I had my and I remember like looking in the mirror and I'm like, jeez, you know, and I was like, you know,
It's like me! Oh my
I'm like,
God! I'm going 3
damn!
days a week now.
And I
Come
was-
on, let's do it.
yeah, and I was so surprised by how quickly you know, I improved, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. And it did make me feel a lot better about myself and put me in a better mood at the time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, a lot of people fall back on that as well, like gym and stuff like that, getting healthy after like hardships and that, because it's good. It's great. It's natural, and you know you're around like the gym's amazing, man. Like,
Don't get him started. Don't get him
oh
started.
my God, don't go side. Yeah,
Um,
gym's just so good, man.
yeah.
I'm shaking that with clothes.
I think the genuine problem for me was I'd started this around the beginning of winter, so and in my garage we don't really have any heating, so no matter what time of day I was out there, I was fucking
if you're lifting
freezing.
it.
Like I'd start and I'm freezing. Like if by the end I'm there, like I've been working out, so I'm still quite warm, but it's almost like
Yeah.
my whole body's really warm, but the outside's still cold. So I'm there like, you know, and I was like, okay, well I'll just wait till it's at least warmed up a little bit and not fucking snowing and ice outside, and you know have some heat in the garage, and then I just never kept it up, and then got distracted by job and school and other things. So fell off. It's my fault.
Always got to make room for gains. Always got to make room for gains.
Yeah, it's excuses, but it is mostly my fault. I know that. So yeah, so now that we've had this big push from the group to you know, exercise and get huge. Yeah, I think this is pretty good. I mean, yeah, it's getting colder, but we're also not really able to go to the gym, and in the sense, you know, I still have options though. I've still got my hand weights. I can still go in the garage. I can just wrap up a bit, like be a bit warmer.
Put a coat on. Put Parker on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You can't even lift it. It's just too tight on your chest. That's it.
So, I think we'll segue into talk about your stuff, George, about your motorbiking, because we've
Motorbike?
not
I
motorbiking,
wish.
sorry, mountain biking.
Wish more. I wish.
Because we've obviously spoken about it a bit before, you know, personally, but I don't think we've really gone that in depth on it. And obviously, you can clear up any things I may not be aware of. So, when did you start doing mountain biking, and why?
So, it was around August. So after my birthday, Dad got me a bike, right? Yeah. Oh my God.
What year? Do you know? Do you remember?
This year. Well, last year, right? Last year, August.
Right.
Birthday's in August. So he got me a bike in August. Oh my God, was it a rust bucket? I tell you, Morgan. So it's like a small frame. That's not too bad, right? I can deal with that. Tires were like road tires. Because I said to her, I started watching videos on YouTube about mountain biking and stuff like that, and I was like, this looks absolutely sick. I want this. I want to do this. I was like, I'm not going to be able to do what he's doing. I'm not going to be able to go off like some 20-foot jump, Grand Canyon flip like on Red Bull Rampage, but at least I can do some cool stuff, right? Because it's fun. It's all about having fun. That's what life's about, right? So I was like, I want to do this. So I watch all these videos, and then I get a bike, and then oh my God, so I get the bike's free, but then I'm like, this bike isn't up to scratch. So I took it to the bike shop. I was like, fix it up, make it beautiful. They were like, looked at it, they were like, yeah, we'll make it beautiful. So I start riding on it to my local trails. Didn't have a helmet at the time. Didn't have a helmet at all, or gloves. Didn't have a helmet or gloves. Naughty me.
Very naughty, George.
Very naughty. But then I was watching more videos, and then I started leaning towards these videos because you get the suggested on YouTube and all this, and it was like top mountain biking crashes, and I'm like, and then I'm watching them. They're all wearing helmets, bang, smacking their head, all sorts. I'm like, oh my god, I'm buying a helmet.
Oh no, what have I
And then like
done?
even when they're wearing the helmets and their face like slides across the floor and all sorts, and they rip off like skin and stuff on the face, I'm like, no,
Ew.
thank you. So then I'm like, I'm going in, and I buy this bad boy, a full face mountain bike helmet,
I was gonna say, yeah,
absolute
you got to describe it for the
monster,
people who'll be listening to this
full
audibly. So
face mountain bike helmet, magnetic lock, adjustable, weighs 600 grams, super light for mountain bike helmets. It has it's downhill rated, so it's rated for like crazy stuff. It's really good. I love it. You know, and I don't expect to crash. I've crashed a few times, but I've never crashed. Right? If I come off, it's because I lose control of the bike or whatever. I slide off. Chairs just went again. I slide off. You know, and I put my hands out or whatever. That made me get gloves as well because I never knew how to crash because I was completely new. I never knew how to crash.
right.
So when I came off, I look back at it now. The bits I was crashing on, now I laugh at it. I laugh at it. I could do it without my feet on the pedals. I could do it sitting down. Right, it's easy. It's easy now. But before I was doing it, I was shaking, shaking as I'm doing it. So I came off there a few times because I didn't understand speed, how to brake properly. I was completely new. So I come off and I didn't know how to crash, as I said. So put my hands out, just my hands. Oh my god, I'm going like I'm not going
Yikes.
fast, but I'm going fast enough, Morgan. Right? So rip up all my palms. They're good now. They're good now, but I had like proper like skin, like couple layers of skin gone on each one, and I'm sitting there like,
Nice.
oh my god, I can't even hold my bike anymore because my hands are just all mangled.
Sorry if this sounds.
So I was like,
Sorry for anyone who's just grossing out. It's the truth, you know.
it
It's
wasn't too bad. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it was bad enough for me to go right. That's it. I'm buying gloves.
the
I had
thing
the
is,
helmet on at the
there are
time.
there are some kind of injuries where it doesn't have to be that big to hurt a lot. You know, like I don't know,
yeah.
like say
Paper
this
cuts.
paper cuts or
Oh.
like the skin at the like by your nails. You know, like when you get that like bit of skin that's cut. Oh,
Yeah,
gee.
when you're like, oh, there's a little bit, and you try to peel it off, and you're like,
Oh, don't, you're making me cringe now.
yeah, let's stop that now.
Yeah. So that kind of, you know, it kind of causes that kind of pain as well, especially when you fall on gravel and shit.
It's all gravel as well, so you probably get
Yeah.
the hands and stuff. But this helmet I've hit my head wearing the helmet, I think once, but it weren't too bad. I think it was the same time that I did put my hands out.
Right.
And because it's just rocks everywhere, right? It's just a big rock and there was a drop. So I go out, and I try turn. I try turn and I hit my head, but I'm wearing the helmet and I wasn't hitting it hard. It was just like that, and I was fine. And I was more concerned about the hands. So then I bought gloves. So now I wear gloves. So when I crash, you know, I put my hand. If I'm going face first, I don't usually go face first anymore. I try to land on my side always, no matter what. But if I know I'm going face first, hands and then turn, because then you try roll, you deflect the impact or whatnot, right? It's
Yeah.
physics. So I've learned how to crash now, but I plan for the worst, go for the best sort of thing, right?
So do you plan to keep up? Well, firstly, do you plan to keep it like doing this whilst you can for now? And
Oh, definitely. I want to go to like some of the bike parks and wows and stuff, because the one I've got, they did it. They did the Olympics there, I think the 2010 like mountain bike Olympics or something like that, or
Right.
just biking cross country Olympics. They did that there. They're crazy. They ain't even got mountain bikes. They got like CrossFit bikes or whatever, and I'm sitting there bottoming out on my suspension, dying, but they're going for it. It's crazy. But no, I really do want to keep up. I really enjoy it. The weather's just so bad recently.
yeah.
You know, it's not the season sort of thing, but I do like to ride. But the weather's just been so poor. Snow. The rocks are going to be hell.
And imagine you're going to just do it as a hobby or anything. You know.
No, definitely, yeah. No, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not nowhere near good enough to do it as anything else. And I don't plan. I just do it for fun, and I do have fun. So that's all I want. So that's all I get.
I mean, it's perfectly a smart thing to do. I mean, having some form of exercise as like a hobby and interest you have is cracked. I mean, obviously, again, you have your mountain biking. I used to do like rugby for ages, and even though I wasn't very sporty before, it meant that I was doing something consistently that was somewhat keeping my health, like physical health up, and
Yeah.
also, the people I met there. And I mean, in reality, I haven't really kept that much contact with most people I used to play with, but when I was there, we we did go on quite well, and we had plenty of funny times and stuff. We got to go on tour at one point, which was really cool. I think in the last full year I did, we did a season where we had a flawless season, so we didn't lose a single match, and then we went into the county championship and won, and
Really?
it was fucking hype, fucking 10-0. I remember my head, I was just like 10-0. And yeah, it was amazing, amazing experience. That if I wasn't pushed to do it, not so much pushed. That sounds like I didn't want to do it, but if
Motivated?
I was motivated or encouraged to do it by people, especially like my mother, who I'm very close with and love dearly. If she hadn't kind of encouraged me to at least give it a try, then I would have never experienced that.
That's it. Yeah, you've got to always just take risks in yourself. Do something you love. If you're like, it might not work out, but if it does, it'll be amazing.
Yeah. So,
That's for it.
I during what would it have been? It would have been, I think, during sixth form. I think during the summer of one of the years of sixth form. I did go and do NCS, the National Citizenship Service.
Right.
It's similar to Duke of Edinburgh. Did you ever do that?
Oh, okay, right, yeah. I know,
it's not
I
too
know
far
what
off
you mean,
that, like.
Yeah,
Really.
right. Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So, it's like a 4-week program. So the first week, you kind of get put into these groups of people. I can't remember if it's like 7 or 8 people, and the whole point is it's supposed to be like everyone there pretty much doesn't know each other,
right?
To encourage you to get to know them and practice getting to know new people. It's as simple as that. And then I believe for the first week we all go to this massive fuck off house in like Wales or something, like 100 or so of us. I can't remember exactly. And we do lots of essentially like bonding exercises, which mostly consists of kind of like sporty activities and puzzle things they've designed. And we use those to get to know each other. And
so how do you win? How do you win it?
So it's not so much. It's not so much winning. It makes more sense when I get to the end.
Right. Okay.
How it works.
Yeah. Go on. Yeah.
So it's because it's not so much a contest. It's more of just like an accolade, like you completed it. It's not so much like
so it's like
these people win, these people lose. Yeah.
Completed Duke of Edinburgh or whatnot, or CSS.
Yes, Snake. So I loved a bit of NCS. So for the first week, you all live in a shared residential kind of thing. It's like a massive building in the middle of nowhere, and then you do those activities. So the ones as far as I can remember, we did gorge walking, if you know what that is.
I can guess. You walk along a gorge or over a gorge.
Pretty much, and it's essentially.
Yeah. No, thank you.
It's essentially like a. It's like walking up hills, like rocky hills with water going down. It's like kind of like a hiking.
You're at the bottom of a gorge and you walk up it.
Yeah, it's almost like hiking.
Do you have like helmets on or something?
I think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't have no gorge rock drop on me, but I ain't dying. I ain't dying in no gorge. That is not where I'm dying, bro. Yeah, I miss me with that. I'm not dying in no gorge.
But that was quite fun. I've grown up. I've always grown up doing camping and some form of hiking, and like I've climbed Mount Snowdon once and a half technically.
Really?
So that was really fun. So I'm kind of used to that. One's not too bad at all, really. It wasn't anything too groovy with that. But the other things we did was caving. So like actually
that's
going into caves with the
I'd love to do that.
lights on the head and everything. And
yeah, I'd love to do that.
So going into this, right? My dad was also telling me, you're going in there to experience things you either haven't done before or aren't very likely to get a chance to do.
Right.
And you're gonna have people who don't know you, and you're only there for a limited amount of time. So just do it. You can't really
you don't-
embarrass.
Yeah, you're not gonna know I'm after, are you? It's over.
Yeah, and after in the past couple of years, I've come to realize more like you can't really embarrass yourself in front of people who you've never met and will probably never meet again. Because why does it matter?
Well, if you're on a train or something and you fart loudly, that's kind of embarrassing. Like, yeah,
I mean, yeah, but you're stuck in the train with them until you leave. But what I mean is, like, if I did something like, you know, slid in some mud and got covered in mud, and, you know, and they're like, oh, fuck, you know, what an idiot. And they're like, yeah, well, I got my covered in mud, it sucks, but whatever. You know, I'm not going to go home and all my lads are going to be like, fuck him, remember Morgan fucking stood in the mud, what a wanker, oh, fuck him. You know, I'll be like, so I'm like, okay. So, and even when I got to know the people in my group and became friends with several of them, like, even then, I was like, right, this will be the first time I ever get to do this stuff. I don't know whether I will be able to do this stuff again, so just fuck it, I'm just going to go for it. So, for example, when we went caving, we went to this segment where there was a gap of 6 inches. It was like a rock surface, and then it's just a gap of 6 inches. And I think it's called like the letterbox or something.
Did you go through it?
And they were like, and our instructor was like, so we are going to all get through this 6-inch gap. And we're like, eh? He's like, head first, you just go in, it's pitch black, and then you kind of like, so it's got like the 6-inch thing, and then it very gradually like opens up, but you can't see.
Thank you.
You cannot see fuck all. Where you are, you can't see fuck all, and then it's just a gap in the wall of rock, and then it's fuck all. And then our instructor was like, "Yeah, we're gonna get through." And I'll just say we had people of varying body types. But
some people just weren't getting through it.
I was like, bro, I don't know what you're drinking or something like.
You're on
what
something, bro.
On?
He's not getting through. That guy's not getting through, bro. You seen him?
Yeah, I was like, good luck. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going in. And this guy he was pretty cool. It's annoying I can't remember his name, but he was really funny and a really cool guy. And I was like, "Well, if I go first?" And everyone else there like, "I don't want to go in. It's scary." And I'm like, "I'll do it." All right. And he's like, "Oh, awesome, go ahead." And I was like, fucking like put my head sideways, fucking like squeeze through. And I'm like, you know.
Is it like you have to climb to get into it, or is it like you're on the ground and then you like shimmy through?
It was about it's slightly above waist height. And then it was just in a wall. It's like a hole in a wall.
Awkward to get in. That's like,
it's 6 inches thick.
Yeah, but to get in the position to go into it, was it awkward? Because like,
not really. I just leant forwards and kind of stuck my head through.
Oh, okay.
So it's like being birthed again. You know.
I'd never do that sort of stuff.
It was pitch black and rock hard as rock. But I went through, and everyone got through. It was really weird. I was like, oh, okay. I don't know how that happened, but okay. And then I essentially.
How did you get? Sir, door.
Yeah, what the fuck? How did they cheat? What the fuck? But I remember I ended up being like, I was always then the front of my team because everyone was like, oh, I don't want to do that. Fucking Morgan will do it though. So like, it was like the instructor, me, the rest of my team, and everyone was like, and then he was like, right. So at this point we're going to diverge a bit. Someone's going to go that way. It loops back round. Don't worry. But we're going to, some of us going to go this way. And if you're feeling a bit more adventurous, you go that way. And I'm like, and he was like, right, off you go, Morgan. I was like, yeah, see you later, mate.
Morgan, you go that way. Someone go
that way. Is this is the way we're supposed to go. This way is complete death. So off you go.
That's 5 kilometers of looping, winding, unexplored tunnels. Go that way, Morgan.
See you later, boss man. See you at the end. And it was great. I just by doing it, and I was like, I'm not. Because I didn't allow myself to think about it, I wasn't scared. I just went, I'm doing it, done. And I just fucking did it.
Was that a good decision?
Yeah.
I didn't think about this decision. I just did it.
Because I'm so used to, I'm very much a overthinker and worrier about everything, like so little, tiny things.
I think you'd be justified, Morgan, in overthinking whether or not you want to go into the random cave hole.
George, that was the second scariest part of the caving, let me tell you. But yeah, no, it was really fun doing that. And to skip ahead a tiny bit, at the end of the day, during this week when we were all doing this stuff together, at the end of the day, we had like kind of like a talk to each other, and we had to say like, okay, who do we think inspired us the most this week? It's kind of a little cringe, but it's also kind of wholesome at the same time. And they're like, who do you think inspired the most today, and who's improved the most and stuff? And I think literally everyone was like, well, Morgan inspired me because anytime we saw something that looked really scary, he just went and did it, and he was fine. And I was like, oh, thanks, guys.
So less.
Stop it,
Yeah.
But the scariest part of caving was we got right to the end. We did this huge, like, essentially big circle within the caves, and then we came back and we're at the entrance, and we're here, and it's like it's been very wet the whole time. Like, it's quite moist and there's flowing water around in different areas. And he's like, right, what can you guys hear? We're like back at the entrance, but we're still in the cave. So, right, what can you guys hear? And we're like, running water. And he's like, right, if you look down this little hole here, and literally not that much bigger than a letterbox hole really, which is this hole in like foot height, kind of at like a 45-degree angle, which is a hole in this rock and fast flowing water. And he was like, any of you who want to try it can go into this hole and like head first, and you will be underneath us, under this rock, through flowing water and stuff, completely submerged in water, and come out of this like pool. And then he pointed over to this other pool of water and was like, and you'll come out over there.
Did you do it? You did it. What is wrong with it, Morgan? You
honestly,
don't get talk to my ass. Nah, no,
bro. I saw this thing and I was like, well, I'm going to show everyone I have the biggest fucking testicles they've ever seen.
Oh, you're the craziest guy. What? Biggest
bro,
testicles, you're the craziest.
I saw this and I was like, is it cold? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, all right. It's fucking freezing. All right. And obviously we're in like, caving gear and stuff anyways. We're reasonably wrapped up, but I essentially had to just fucking climb down into, it was pitch black. We couldn't have I had to take the light off because it's so small. I had to take the torch off my helmet in case it got caught or something, so I had to go blind. And he's like, so I had to go face first, and literally you go in and it's so fast it pulls you along as you're going along in this water. So I literally
I'd never do that.
So I went face first into utter blackness, and just
blackness with a water current just dragging you along.
And this thing,
not
right,
knowing if you'll live, he's like, yeah, it's over. Over there.
You got to imagine I was completely flat, like on my belly, and just trying to keep my head up as this cold water is like running past me, and I'm like, it's like I'm going down a chute, and I was like, and then I just fucking come out of this, in this pool, and I was like, hey guys. So they would have, from their perspective, they would have seen me just fucking climb into this hole in the rock, disappear for a bit, and then they look across the room, and then my fucking head just pops out of the water. I'm like, hey guys, I'm okay. And then I think I did it twice.
No more.
And I think maybe a few other people did it, but I did it twice.
On like, I don't know if you did it, but like year 6, year 7, right? They have a residential trip or whatever it is, or is it year 11? No, year 7. Yeah, right. It's called a residential, where the school goes out all together, right? And they stay somewhere for a week or a weekend, right?
That's pretty much what we did.
Yeah. And we went. It wasn't caving, right? It was a tunnel. It was an underground tunnel system that they made, and that was scary enough, Morgan. Right? That was pitch black. That was scary enough. There was like, no, they made it, right? It wasn't like they knew everything. I wished I was Pooh Bum. Right? And you're going in some. Nah, bro, you're messed. You go see a doctor.
It was great though. I don't regret it at all. I obviously came out perfectly fine. And I was like, oh, that was crazy.
That is, people are like, oh, you don't do something, you regret it. No, that is something I would not regret doing. I would happily go, not do that. 20 years later, yep, thank God I didn't do that.
Look, I'm happy I did it. I don't know whether I'll have the balls to do anything like that again. I must have just been completely
off your head,
off your head,
tits, mate. Off your head, mate, off your rock.
There was a few other examples, but like nowhere near as bad as probably that last one. But yeah, I spent that whole week just like showing how much of a chad I am to these people, and then
flexing.
The next week we essentially all had like a mini festival. So the same, like everyone, we went to this big open field much closer to where I live, which was very fortunate. And there was this like like a teepee,
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So big fuck off teepees where you can have like 10 people sleeping in there maybe.
Okay.
And there's like loads of those in there. And for the week we're like fucking playing games. There's music at like this stage playing all the time, and then like again doing more like crafty arts and crafts stuff in groups. You know, everyone's kicking football. It's really nice. On the first day, I had the worst flu of my entire life. So
I've never
bad.
caught the flu. Never caught the flu.
It made no sense because it's like in the middle of summer, and I'm like, well, it's not cold. What the fuck?
What happened to you? How bad did it get you? How bad?
So,
How bad?
so I felt a bit ill going to sleep, right? On the Monday night, I was like, a bit of a sore throat, you know, got a bit of runny nose and stuff. Where it's a bit shit, but I'd be like a day or two.
You managed to sleep well. I can't usually sleep
No.
well if I'm.
No, did not sleep well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was bearing in mind I was also essentially sharing one tent with 6-7 other guys who I
You gave them all the flu.
No, no one got it. No one else got it but me. I was like, what the fuck? This is broken. I woke up, no sound could come out of my throat. I tried
Really?
talking. It was the scariest thing ever. I tried talking and no sound came out. And I felt fucking awful. It was the worst.
God.
And I had to go to like the people running it and sign language like, I'm dead, bro. I can't make it. And he was like, we have some lemon sip and stuff. Have some of that. See if that feel you better. And if you really don't feel good, then we'll see you, you know. And I'm there like drinking this fucking lovely like hot lemon sip shit. So, But then everyone's like, you right, Morgan? I'm like, it was the fucking weirdest shit ever. I was like, what the fuck happened to me? And then they were like, right. So they were like, Morgan, you really don't think I'm the person to fake it, and you have said you are quite excited for this. I'm like, yeah, I want to be here. What the fuck? And then they were like, okay, so we'll call your dad, because we weren't really. I don't think we were really allowed to have our phones, or maybe we were. I can't really
You
remember.
weren't allowed your phones.
Can't really remember whether we did, but I remember we contacted. I think they called my dad to at least explain it to him, and they were like, "Look, he's fucked, mate. He's
out, mate. He's out for the count. Man.
And obviously, one, I can't really enjoy doing anything there, and being in a big open field with those people isn't helping. But two, they didn't want me giving it to anyone else either, which is fair enough.
Understandably, yeah, right.
So they sent me home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's shit, but it makes sense. And they were like, right, you know, go home, you know, medicine and stuff. Don't go too crazy. Just try and get better. And as soon as you feel better and you want to come back, let us know. And you obviously just come straight back. And I was like,
that's nice.
perfect.
That's nice.
I'm thinking like a day maybe 2. I was literally out the entire week. Entire week, I just had no voice, like the sorest, shittest throat. Weren't allowed it during the activities. There you go. Thank you, Hammy Ham. Can confirm we didn't have our phones, which is why they would have had to contact my dad. So, I couldn't. You were allowed your phone, but only when you were back in your camp. Oh yeah, so I see what you mean. Yeah. But I think they just did it anyway, just to like discuss it with him. Yeah, and the whole week couldn't talk. Just like felt fucking got like shit as hell. I'm like, I just want to go back. The fuck. And I went back. I think Thursday night, or like late Thursday afternoon. So like all the activities were done already, and everyone's just chilling. I turn up, I'm like, hey guys, hey! And then they were like, oh,
packing their bag to leave.
Yeah, they're like, what the fuck? We're leaving tomorrow. And I'm like, I'm back though, hi! And then I came back, I missed out on free Nando's and like loads of fun activities and stuff. I was fuming. And then, yeah, literally Friday, pissed about a bit in the morning and then went home at like midday. So I was like, well, that was fucking week wasted. Fuming.
Yeah. That's unfortunate.
There were, I don't. Yeah, I know. I miss free Nando's. Literally, I was fuming. There were reasons at the big. There were reasons I won't get into as to why I wasn't completely upset that I left. I'll say because of certain people there. You'll never be able to guess. I'll talk about it off podcast, but
yeah.
But there were reasons why I wasn't 100% upset that I had to leave. I was like, oh no, I have to go now. But the one good thing that came out of that week was I found someone there who I knew before. I was like, oh shit, I actually know someone here.
All right. Yeah.
And it was this girl who went to my school. And I was like, I never really knew or spoke to her before, but like my friends had like knew her and spoke to her before, and we knew of each other's existence.
Yeah.
And I think on the Friday, my dad was working, so he couldn't pick me up to like bring me home like at the time of day they needed me to.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't have too many people that drive that are also not working in my family, so
Join the club.
couldn't really get a lift. And I spoke to this person again. I'll avoid naming. Makes things easier.
Mandy. Sandy.
Yeah, we'll say Mandy.
Mandy.
So I spoke to Mandy. I was like, oh my
Right.
god, hi, remember it's me, Morgan. We're going to the same school. She's like, oh my god, hi, yeah, we go to crazy stuff. And I was like, look, I know this is really weird because obviously we don't know each other that well, but I really need a lift home. Do you happen to live in my village?
Bold.
I think that's exactly what I said, but I was kind of like, do you happen to live in the same village as me? Could you give me a lift? She's like, yeah, no problem. And I was like, oh, cool, thanks.
Oh, thank God.
So she ended up giving me a lift, and
Yeah.
I think because her dad who was picking her up wasn't like he was like, I'm fucking giving him a lift, fucking weirdo. Who's this guy? I think like we went to her house first, and then we just like dropped off at her house, and then I just went home.
Yeah.
It's like other end of the village, but still, it's closer than I was at the fucking camp.
Better than nothing.
Yeah.
Better than nothing. Yeah.
And literally from like that interaction, she became a very good friend of mine, like throughout sixth form and stuff.
Right.
Like she just became one of my best friends throughout sixth form.
Hello.
So yeah, the good thing out of that week was I made a very good friend for several years. It was very cool. Fortunately, we don't talk that much anymore for genuine unknown reasons. But I guess we just move on. I guess.
You get that a lot. I think loads of people relate to that, like from school and stuff like that, college. Just don't talk anymore. I got loads of mates that I was absolutely best pals, literally, mwah, 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 all sorts, right? But you just don't talk to each other. I talked to a few on Snapchat, like, hey, you doing, mate? Yeah, good. You, mate? Yeah, great. But that's it, yeah. And it's annoying as well because you can't meet up with them now and all sorts, so it don't make the situation any better.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, right? It's how the world works, but it's just sad, isn't it? But,
yeah. I think that's the thing. It's like, so I've always been pretty good with having, I've got obviously my guy friends, I've got my guys, but
the lads.
But pretty much since I moved to where I live now, I've always had at least one or two good like female friends because it's like it's a nice change essentially. Like there are things you don't really talk about to each other with the guys, or
Go on, more.
there are ways. No, I'm not. No, I can't talk to myself.
Out yourself.
There are things you don't really talk about with a certain group of people, but then if you have a good female friend and stuff, then you can talk about different things, and they can be understanding in different ways and stuff.
Works both ways.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always had like. I've had there's been a couple who I've gotten on like with really well, and then we kind of just like grow apart. This is how it is. But me and Mandy, let's say,
right.
we were really close and we really got on really well. A lot of people were always like, "You two go now. You like her?" And I'm like, no, not my type, or anything like or anything like that. Like she was a lovely person, and good looking, I guess, but she was my friend. That's I don't really think of her in that way. So, and she had like several boyfriends during the time we were good friends anyway. So I'm like, so what gives you the idea that I'm going out with her or anything? So it's annoying. Yeah, we never really fell out or argued or anything. I think just
sort of lost touch sort of thing.
Yeah. So
that's how it happens,
it sucks,
isn't it?
but yeah, unfortunately that's just how it went.
Mm,
I don't know. There are sometimes I think back to people who I've had like good friendships with and kind of face that, and I'm like, kind of, part of me is like, I just want to make sure they're doing all right. It makes me, I feel like I might message them and be like, how you been?
yeah.
Hope everything's doing all right with you and stuff. It's just, I find it sometimes nice to check up on people who, even though you don't talk to that much now, you may
That's
have
that's
in
what
the
I was about to
past.
say. Just like sometimes I just message random people from school like years ago. Like, yeah, mate, how you doing? And if they don't reply, fucking whatever. If they do,
Yeah, exactly.
see if they're doing alright. No loss to me.
Yeah,
Might make their day or something. I don't know. Yeah, might make my night. Whatever.
but that's why it's nice having a mix of people who you're close to and speak to very frequently, but often you'll find there will be some people who, although you get on with quite well, you only speak to on the rare occasion. But
Yeah.
it's still nice to keep in contact with. But I don't blame him being in that position of wanting female friends and it just being friends. Yeah, exactly. Like everyone has their interests and types of partners. But sometimes like you just have people who you get on with really well. So it doesn't matter
Yeah, definitely.
what they look like or what their personality is. Sometimes if you get on with each other and you're good friends, then you're good friends. Like who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to appreciate who you have and who you know, and it's sometimes important to also realize who isn't good for yourself.
Preach, Morgan. Preach. Come on.
I've known people who like I'm very much someone who I like to give people chances and prove themselves.
But how many
Or
chances would you give a person
too
if they did
many,
wrong
as
with you?
history has shown me.
Yeah,
Too many.
that's the thing. I
Um,
think second chance. That's it.
Second chance.
Second chance.
Fair enough.
What's the saying? Wrong me once,
Fool me
shame on you.
once.
Wrong me twice. Fool me once. Fool. You know the saying. You know the saying,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
That saying. Two. It depends who it is. If it's like family, maybe a few more, but depends, right?
Yeah.
It all depends on the person.
Shame on you, shame on you, shame on you, shame on
But
me.
the main factor shouldn't be like, oh, I really like them. That's why I want to give them another chance, because you could really like them, but they could just be scum of the earth. So
Yeah.
you need to like see it objectively as well as
Because
subjectively.
sometimes, even though it seems hard, it's like you do have to realise they're either not good for you or even other relationships you have with people. So you need to consider what's more important to you. For example, I've had friends where I've been friends with someone who a different friend didn't like,
Yeah.
and the
God,
third,
mind game here,
the
right?
and friend number two, let's say, I've known for a
Yeah.
lot longer and have a much more in-depth friendship with, and if they're not happy with me being friends with them, you could argue that it shouldn't matter to them, but you've got to think what's more important for you, like your really good friend of many years who you get on with really well, or this kind of new friend who you're not that entirely sure with. I don't know.
Mm,
There's different sides to
I
it.
I disagree. I disagree with you because I think it shouldn't matter. I think it depends what the person's done to the other person. But if they just don't like them because they think they're a mug or whatever,
Mm.
that's not fair. And they shouldn't make
Yeah.
you go, oh, yeah, don't be friends with him because he's a knob. I don't like him, so don't be friends with him.
No,
Otherwise, we're gonna
exactly.
fall out. Because otherwise, that person's the person who is a mug.
I mean,
Because you
again,
shouldn't care.
without going into details, because we'll try avoid naming
Well,
people.
I'm speaking generally. I actually I don't know who you're on about either.
No, you
I
won't. You probably
probably
won't know.
do. Yeah, I probably do. Don't know him, but yeah.
No, no. The example I was trying to give you, you won't know that much about.
Oh, right,
But
yeah.
let's.
Generally speaking, what I stand by.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think sometimes you've got to consider what's
Respect.
important to you, and be wary of who you want to keep as friends.
Mm.
Because I don't think you should just be friends with someone because you have been friends with them for a long time. Because you may have been sort of friends with them for a while, but they may not actually be that good of a friend, and then you're like, hold on, they're kind of a cunt. Why do I I don't really care.
Hold on, they're kind of a mug to everyone else I meet. I don't know about this person.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I've not. There's been times years ago, for example, where we've had people in our group who seems fine for a while, and then over time you realise they're not really like getting on with the whole group that much, or or even no, I can't, I couldn't, because I'm sure there's different, I'm sure there's different reasons, but there has been people where at first it seems fine and they've been good in the group, but then over time you're like, okay, well, that's not really necessary, is it? Or why are you being like that for? And you have to sometimes have to cut them out, because it's just not healthy for your mentality or your friendship, for example. So yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah.
You have to keep an eye on who are your good friends and who are fake friends, I guess. Don't go conspiracy theory and start questioning every friendship you have, but
I don't know. Depends. It depends. Always be like, what's their motive here?
But sometimes keeping an eye on it. Sometimes keeping an eye on things.
Yeah, you don't want to get stabbed in the back, do you?
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to get mugged off.
You don't want to get hurt, yeah.
I have plenty of that. I'm not going to get into it, but
I have it at work. I don't know about you, but at my work, everyone chats shit about everyone. Manager, team members, they all chat shit about each other, and they tell me, and they're like, "Oh, this person is a mug. They didn't do this," and I'm like, "Yes, and I'm like, "Haha, yes, funny," but it's like I can't say.
But what about? Like, but they could also be the people chatting shit about you as well.
They definitely are. They definitely are.
Oh, that George guy, he's such a mug.
I'm sitting there. I'm like, look, I'm just doing my job. Pay me at the end of the week, bro. See, I don't care, man. I don't care about your drama. I'm here to work. Oh, literally, though, I like the customers. That's literally the only reason I work at.
You like the customers?
I love the customers.
Bro, I need to come work at your work, bro. What the fuck?
Southend, the people in Southend. Oh my god, it is so. They're characters, bro. They're characters. I'll tell you a story. So I weren't working this day. But my co-worker was, right. So she and a senior member, so like the manager on whatever, right. They're trying to serve this customer, and he was being a bit awkward because now, before, like, people have to wear masks in the shop, right? We have to wear masks. People have to wear masks, right?
Yeah.
But we weren't obligated to tell people to wear masks, right? Because of medical reasons or whatnot. It wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't justified or whatnot.
More courtesy than like rules.
Well, no, it was like, please wear a mask when you're in the shop. Please wear a mask.
Right.
But we couldn't say, sir, can you put on a mask? Or, excuse me, ma'am, can you wear a mask? We couldn't do that.
Right.
But you're gonna come in. There you go. Right.
Sorry, George's dog. He's got some lovely dogs for them. So.
Attention seeker. But we couldn't say to him, look, put on a mask, you mug, or jog on. Right, we couldn't say that. But now we can. Now
my work technically can, but we never do.
Yeah, we can and sometimes do. It depends on what the person looks like. If the person looks like a mug, put on a mask. Honestly.
If he what do you define as a mug, George? What?
No comment. But yeah. But the story is, right, he came in without a mask, wanted to get served. He was being rude, aggressive, whatever, right? Just being a complete knob, right? You get it a lot. I never get it. I'm so upset. I want to be abused.
Everyone loves you, George. That's why. Yeah,
I'm just too nice to customers. I'm literally
amazing.
nice. I'm so nice to the customers, honestly, all the time. But some people are like, oh, just one co-worker. That's another story. She literally asked for fights, I swear. But this guy leaves the shop with his food or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? And he's upset. Walks off, comes back a few seconds later. He's like, "Oh, fuck you lot." Pulls his pants down. He's old man. Pulls his pants down. Bare ass. Out.
Okay, careful. Yeah.
Right, out. Just looking into the shop. There's people in the shop. As well.
Yeah.
So he's showing his.
Yeah, his moon.
His bum and his
Oh yeah. Oh.
He's jewels as well, and they're like obviously old man jewels, beautiful, right?
Amazing.
And he's just showing them, and he's like, "Oh, you lot," and then he walks off, and they're like, "What?" Oh, and the funny bit was one of the boss, right? She's Scottish,
Okay.
and in her little, she's a little Scottish. She's little and Scottish, right? She says in a little Scottish accent, "Oh, you dirty wee bastard!" Oh, it's so funny. Yeah, the story. Like,
I
"You
love
dirty
it. I
bastard."
love it.
It's so good, so good.
I love accents and stuff, but I think we'll talk about that some other time. I'll get into that. But yeah. I mean, for me, I'm quite so. Again, I'm not. I won't dox myself and talk about where I work as such. But
Yeah.
but
I reckon Rumford.
but it's a retail job, and most of the stuff I do isn't on the shop floor. So I'm not always there with customers and stuff anyway. But when I am, I'm always I'm always polite because most people are completely fine. Everyone's just doing their shopping. Now everyone's just getting on with their days. But in any kind of retail job you find, like you're as you give example of, there are always some interesting characters you find, and some people who are only thinking about what they want, and they literally couldn't care about anything else but what they want. And and unfortunately, you still have to help them or be nice to them, to some degree.
Even if they're
And it's funny. I mean, again, I can't say anything name-wise stuff, but like there has been cases where a customer would be incredibly just unnecessarily rude, and then you're just like, what has happened to you today that caused you to be so? You woke up and chose violence, bro.
You want to talk about it?
And then obviously I can't say anything, and I never do. I'm always when I'm at work.
It's part of it, yeah.
Yeah, when I'm at work, I'm there to do a job. And then I'm always focusing on what I'm doing. I'm always putting in like 110% effort, and I get it from my dad. I think I'm quite a fortunate mentality for it. Like when I'm there, I'm working. Literally, there's been times where like if people stood around talking, I'm like shaking. I'm like, work. I've got. I actually sometimes I actually shake. I'm like, okay, guys, can we?
I'm running the front of the shop half the time.
But Morgan, what do you think about next week? Who's going to be doing this? And I'm like, I need to working. I need to do stuff, and then and I'll like run off
carrying the boxes.
Yeah, literally.
Go away from me.
So when I'm at work, I'm always very polite and kind to customers and stuff. And there have been plenty of people who have been really nice and stuff. Like there'll be times when people are like, "Oh, do you have this in?" And then I'm like, doesn't look like we have it, but I can look upstairs for you and stuff. And they're like, "Yeah, that I really appreciate that." I'm like fucking running around upstairs. I'm like, trying to find this thing they're looking for. I'll come back. And I'm like, I'm really sorry, we haven't got any at the moment and stuff. And I'm always quite apologetic. I feel bad because obviously if they're asking for it, they're clearly looking for that thing. They came here to buy that thing, and I'm like, I'm really sorry we don't have it. And a lot of people get very upset, but sometimes you get people who just go, "Mate, it's not your fault. Don't worry about it. That's right. I'll just come tomorrow or some other time of the week, or I'll just order it online." And I'm like, "Oh my god, someone who realizes it's not my fault. We don't have this in."
Yeah.
The amount of times people are like, "Why don't you have this in?" I'm like, "Fuck, do I know?" I was like, "What? I don't order the stuff in. People have obviously bought it. What do you mean?" So you get a wide mix of people. Mostly they're just fine. They ask you where something is, or they ask you if they can if we sell something. I'm like, no, that makes no sense for our shop to sell that. What are you on about? And then oh, okay, sure. And then they'll leave, and I'm like, all right.
So what types?
Yeah, they're like,
no.
Do you show this? And I'm like, no.
No, sure we are.
Oh, yeah, I'm literally like,
fine.
I'm like, do you see my badge? Do you know where you are right now? Do you not know anything about this place?
Yeah, you lost, buddy.
But yeah, so you get a good mix. You get mostly fine people. You get the nice people who are just like, don't worry about it, love. Thank you so much for looking and stuff. I'll just grab some other one. And you're like, oh, thank you.
It's usually the older people that are quite nice, and then like.
Yeah. Although to be fair.
This dog.
But then I also.
Wants to come in. Just left, didn't he?
For those who can't see, George has had to let his dog in and out of his room a few times because he just wants attention. Right, he just wants attention. But obviously, George is. Just...
What do you want? What do you want from me?
His dog is lovely,
Are you in now? Are you in now?
It's fine.
Relax.
it's fine. We can we'll finish up soon, and you can play with your dog and something, you know.
Yeah, it's because the other dog's here now.
It looks like, why are you talking to no one?
I talk to the screen.
Why aren't you fussing me?
Yeah.
But yeah, so you definitely get a very interesting experience the longer you work in retail, because I've done it for a few years now. Like,
Get me a lot of characters, a lot of
Yeah.
people.
The amount of times that I'm just like, what is going on? Who are you?
People try. Oh, I've had it where people try put cups of hot drink, no cup holder, just the actual cup, in carrier bags. I'm like,
Really?
excuse me. One time, she was like, oh, can you put this in my carrier bag, please? I'm like, what'd you say? Sorry. I heard, but I was like, what'd you say? Sorry. I was like,
Yeah,
what was that, sorry?
yeah. Are
Yeah?
you thick? Hello?
Can you put it in my carrier bag? I cannot put that in your car. I was like, no, I cannot put that in your car.
I am
I'm
not
not
doing
happy.
that. I refuse.
I
Imagine,
give the cups there. I'm like, you can do what you want with them.
bro.
I will
Imagine
not
you're
put
working at like a coffee shop, and then they were like, "Could you put this mug in a takeaway bag?" And you're like, "No."
Yeah. You're not meant to
I
either.
put it in a takeaway cup, but I'm not putting the mug in a bag.
And then when people, that's the worst. But then people are like, oh, can you warm this up? Can you warm this up? And it's like, we can only warm up certain stuff. It's like we can't warm up.
I think
don't know. Like,
I think whether I stay or leave working in retail, it will always have the impact of like giving me that perspective of being the person in the retail role. And I mean, I'm always quite a, polite and considerate person in general, I like to think. So I don't think I hardly ever speak to people. If I go shopping myself, I've very, very, very rarely ever spoken to the colleagues about something. I always just do it myself because I just
yeah.
avoid the interaction anyway. But even when I do, if something goes wrong, I never like shout at them or complain at them or
No, why would
act really
you? Yeah.
awkward. You're like fucking hell, like go over it. Like it's
People,
really
people are just weird, Morgan.
there are
Just
there are
different.
worse things to be stressing over right now. Like what? So yeah, I like to think that being from this side of the conversation as the person in the retail job, that that will hopefully stick with me, so that if I can't find something or something's missing, I never go, I can't believe this dickhead has meant that I can't go buy my shampoo. Is that because I know like they probably had literally nothing to do about it, hardly know that thing exists in their store, and then they're just like,
Yeah.
all right, why are you being mean to me for?
Like if I go Lidl or something, I'm like, oh, I can't find. I never went in my Lidl. I'm like, where the hell's the rice? Where the hell's the
Yeah.
rice? Want rice? I just go up to someone, I'm like, excuse me, do you know where the rice is? She's like, oh yeah, it's over here. They're usually really helpful. They literally walk you to it.
Yeah.
They literally walk you to it. I'm like, my guy, loading stock, like sleeve stock, come help me. Thank you. I'm like, thanks so much.
Yeah.
That's it. End of it. That's how it should be. So people are like, so
It's funny because there've been times where people ask me, so like my managers always tell me, I'm always told when someone asks where something is, that you should tell them and kind of lead them to it.
yeah.
Unless they're happy to go look for themselves, then don't worry about it. So then I always go like, okay, well, they've asked where something is, I'll go take them to it. And they'll go,
Yeah.
oh, could you tell me where this is? And I'm there literally going, oh, it's just around here. And before I can even bit the fucking words out of like, I could show you something, they're gone. Before I even finish telling them where exactly it is, they've just gone. And I'm like, okay, well, alright, I'll carry on then. I won't fucking bother. And then there's been times where
I've done enough.
the thing is, I kind of get used to that because I've hardly ever had anyone ask me to show them where something is. I'm happy to do so, but it very, very rarely happens. So there's been times where they go, oh, could you tell me where this is? And I'm like, oh, it's literally the other side of this aisle. It's like it's just complete opposite, just the other side. Very easy to find.
That.
And then I'm like, I've got like stuff in my hands. I'm putting stuff out, and they're like, okay, thanks. And I go to like carry on, and they just go, oh, could you show me? And I'm like, yeah. Okay. And I'm like, I've got carrying my stuff. I walk around to the other side of the aisle, and then go like, it's there. And they're like, oh, thank you. And I'm like,
oh yeah, you're right. It was in the opposite side.
right. Well, I'm glad I could help.
Yes, it was.
I don't know. Sometimes I'm just again though, like if it was like a different floor of the store or somewhere like really obscure, didn't mean that to rhyme, then I'm like, yeah, sure, I don't mind that. But like when it's literally like, oh, it's literally down this aisle, you can see it, it's at the end there, and they're like, could you just point out to me exactly? And I'm like, fine, I'll do it. But yeah, obviously I've never been
Don't leave the door open.
I've never been I've never been rude to a customer or anything like that. It's
Unlike my colleagues, some people come in, they can't hear properly, or they're not from, they
Yeah.
don't know English well, or whatever, right? So you have to help them with change, or you have kids come in, or old people come in, they give you the wrong change, or they don't know how much money to give you, right? So usually just repeat it a few times, count out the money in front of them, right? Just simple stuff. And she's like, it's £5.52. No, she's like,
Crikey.
it's £5.52.
yeah.
He's like, what? £5.52.
Fucking
And
hell.
it's like, I'm sitting there, I'm next to some other customer, I'm looking over, what the fuck?
yeah, you're like literally
Yeah.
serving them, and you just stop, and you're like, "What
And
the
he's
fuck
like,
are you
he's
doing?"
like, oh, okay, alright, okay.
Yeah.
It's so.
I think
what?
the worst
Man.
things I get now, like the most frequent thing I get that isn't great is like when someone's either very quiet or, again, I mean this in the nicest way possible. Like when English isn't their first language,
Yeah.
and then they're trying to ask you, but obviously they could be a bit shy because maybe they don't know English too well, or again they could just be really quiet or shy in general, and then they're like, oh, could you show me where this is? And I'm like, what? And I'm like, could you show me where this is? And I'm like, you're literally gonna have to shout at me. And I'm like, just tell me, please. And then I'm can be quite an awkward introvert person anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm there like, I really want to help you, I really do, but I have no fucking idea what you're saying. Please. And then they'll be like, and I'm like, that sounds like something I don't do. I'm like, well, I'm gonna grab my other colleague and they'll help you. And they're like, okay, cool. And I'm like, all right, good luck. And I'm like, Jessica, could you help this person? And then she's like, oh yeah, sure. And I'm like, good luck, because I have no fucking idea. But that's because I'll be very honest with a customer though. Like, if I don't know where something is, I'll just be like, I don't know what that is. But
Yeah.
I either grab someone who does know, or I help the person look for it if I know I can't find someone to help. So if they're like, if I know the general area, because obviously we have like sections of my shop, like that everything's grouped in, and if
Yeah,
they're asking for something that
fields,
very obviously belongs in that group,
frozen.
I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I don't know where that is, but I can look with you. And then I'm like scanning everything.
Where is it?
And then sometimes they're like, it's fine, don't worry about it. And I'm like, no, I will find it. And I'm just scanning it.
Committed.
Yeah, so I as long as they're not the kind of interesting characters you get on the rare occasion, I'm happy to help because that's my job.
Yeah.
I always put the effort in. But yeah, and even when they are a bit interesting.
Interesting.
I can't get into it.
Right.
I can't get into it. But yeah, so
I know exactly what you're about.
yeah,
Real
it's
pain.
but yeah, so coming up to about 25 past now, George. So I think we will finish up here.
Yeah, great.
Thank you very much for coming along. I think this has gone
thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me
brilliantly.
on. It was fun. It was great. I liked it. Yeah.
I know it was last minute. I'm afraid I couldn't help that because I didn't know it was going to be last minute until obviously.
Toby, you coming?
Don't worry.
Upstairs, Toby.
Don't
No.
worry, he will be roasted next week for that. Don't you worry. If he does actually turn up.
Well, hopefully I did an okay job replacing him.
Oh,
today.
absolutely. This has been
Hopefully,
fantastic. I loved it. But yeah,
Good to hear.
good takeaways. Bits of good. Think about your friends. Make sure you surround yourself with good people.
Yeah, of
Like
course,
George,
of course.
who last minute came along in this podcast. I didn't prepare George at all for this. Really, I kind of went, "Oh, by the way, Toby's not coming. I need help." And I was
We're
like,
gonna do a
"George,
podcast.
could you help me?" And George's like, "You know what? All right." We thought, fine, I guess. But yeah, I think this has gone quite well, and I'm happy with that.
I was happy.
So I'll happily have you back again, George.
Love to come
You
back.
know,
Love to come
obviously
back.
George likes to join us on a couple of the games and stuff, and so you'll see him at other times on my streams, which I stream. I currently stream every Sunday on Twitch from 12 to 8 p.m. GMT. Play a variety of games and stuff at twitch.tv/King Crimson. So if you are listening to this on YouTube or SoundCloud, please do give me a follow and stuff, and come watch the stream live, because obviously this is all live. If you guys watching were to ask questions, we would have happily answered questions and stuff. So, I'd like to get that as a thing. Next week, I have a couple surprises and introducing some segments and stuff. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. George, I will happily have you as a guest sometime, because we would like to.
Yeah, love to come. Yeah.
Me and Tobi have spoken about having like third members come along, and we'd happily have guests along. So we'll have to do that sometime when we're all free. But yeah,
it was fun.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everyone who's been watching and or listening. This is us signing off. We're gonna go away for 5-10 minutes, and then we're gonna come back and We're gonna come back and play some Valorant, just to spice things up a little bit. Bit more exciting, hopefully. But yeah, thank you very much, guys. Thank you for listening, and thank you for watching.
Thanks for having me, Morgan.
And we'll see you later and or next week. Goodbye.